Welcome to the first episode of Coffee with Suraj. In this episode, we'll talk about config as code. What the hell is that? And also infrastructure as a code. These terms are used interchangeably, but they kind of encapsulate the same idea. The idea is that before you know all this automation was there, uh, how the infrastructure and configuration used to happen was you would hire a sysadmin. Okay, uh, it was a person. Okay, this was a role, and then it still is. People do hire sysadmins, but sysadmin's job was to manage your infra. That meant provisioning it, and then configuring it, and then maintaining it. Okay, so what this person would usually do is, you would buy a physical server or something. Uh, he would install a hypervisor on it, give you a bunch of VMs, install a bunch of stuff, Apache, mail server, something else that like business needs, or something like uh, a file share or something, for example. I don't know what people used to do old days. These days we have GCS and S3. So yeah, so like that's how it used to happen, like in the very start. And slowly what happened was that, like, company grows, you need to scale these VMs out, and then this person, being an engineering uh, type person. I don't want to say what engineering type. I mean, it's basically someone who's like you and me, a lazy programmer. Didn't want to do all this again and again. And what if, like, this server blows up, this VM crashes, this, like, everything crashes. What they started doing is they started writing bash scripts to automate their life. So there was a bash script to install hypervisor. There was a bash script to, create VMs. There was a bash script to set up mail server. So those scripts had everything. Those scripts would, provision and configure. And then for upgrades and all that, they would do it manually, or sometimes they, like, if the updates are frequent and repetitive, they will have another bash script for that. So those bash scripts, like, were really powerful, as in they cut down the engineering time from days to hours. And as like, company grew, people grew, uh, people started going to more structured programming languages, stuff like, like, people would use Ruby to automate their infra, provisioning and infrastructure and all that. People would use Python, and then they slowly, like, started using Git, like how they were using it for their code, to get all the benefits of code review, linting, and all that, because it's just code, right? uh, so that's how your configuration as a code, or infrastructure as a code, was born, out of a necessity per se. But, like, there are tons of benefits that comes with infrastructure as a code, config as a code. You get all the good parts of, code reviews, collaborative work. Like, you can comment on your peer and say, oh yeah, you missed that, right? And stuff like that. And another benefit of config as a code is that you have a source of truth place that shows what your infrastructure looks like, right? You can just go through that bash script or the Python script or Ruby script or whatnot you have. You will know, okay, this script is to provision it, provision this, that, uh, and whatnot. But then one more problem started happening was that the script would provision it, and then it would deviate from what they provisioned, right? So you provision a mail server, you went ahead and installed one more package, one more dependency that was required, that you missed in the script. You did it by hand, and now you have a script that's out of date. Like, if you use the script again, you will not have the same mail server that you had before, because now you did some extra work, right? Whatever that extra work was. So, like, this problem was there. So then basically came tools like Puppet, Salt, Ansible. Thank you, BBMP. Ansible. So what these tools would usually do is you would have a script create your VM for your mail server, right? And then you would use this script to install your packages, configure your server, start processes, install extra stuff that was required. Maybe install a monitoring agent, maybe install uh, some other configuration that was required. Create firewall rules and stuff like that. So these tools are still in use today, are widely used by folks to manage configuration. So these types of tools are called config as a code tool, right? Because you are configuring your infrastructure. There is still a piece that is living in your bash script that was provisioning, right? So that's when the Terraform came. They said, okay, you have all these problems like stale scripts where your like actual state is behind. You have problem of talking or communicating with APIs of multiple cloud providers, or whoever is doing it, right? And then like let's say you switch jobs, right? You'll have to end up writing those scripts because those scripts were specific to a company. Those scripts are not generic, right? So you can't really do a transfer of knowledge there. So Terraform basically came and said, okay, we'll solve all these problems, and that's how Terraform was born. It was born out of all these problems, and it kind of solves all these problems for you. And that's why you see it caught on and became one of the most popular infra as code or config as a code tool.